Hello, Jamie from Inky and Scrappy, sharing with you my November project for Get Creepin' on Halloween. You are welcome to join the hashtag Get Creeping on Halloween. I will post, hopefully this is my first, so the plan is to post the last day of the month at midnight, at least on my channel, and then I will post later on other social media sites on the last day of the month for my Get Creeping on Halloween series. Anyone is welcome to join and use that hashtag, and hopefully we'll have a few follow along with us. So to start, I just prepped my wood block. This is from a probably 2x6. I don't know how big it was when I started. I cut them down a long time ago, so I actually took a small torch to the sides of it, and then you saw me sand the top of it just to give it a little bit more of a finished look. And so I'd gotten these papers from Kate from Kate Craft, and so she knows my love of Halloween. She loves Halloween and all things gory and creepy too, and so I was like, oh, the Merlot ones, I think they're supposed to be like wine labels, and I thought, oh, these would be perfect for in my kitchen, well, dining room area. And so I wanted to do a mixed media piece with them, and so that was the start of it. And this one just kind of had a mind of its own, or it spoke to me. Maybe it's haunted. I mean, it's a possibility. I don't know. So I'm starting with some of that beautiful, grungy, gothic paper that she sent me. I'm thinking it's from Michaels. She can correct me if I am wrong on that one. I have no clue. So I went in with some Distress Black Soot just around the edge there to hide any of that raw wood from my backside. And then I'm going to bring in some, I want to say Distress Collage Medium. Yeah, I think that's what it's called, in the Antique. So it's got that brown tint to it. You really don't see the brown tint. It's the first thing that I grabbed, so that's what I went with. I'm pretty sure I have a matte one and maybe a gloss one. I really don't know. I love mixed media. I just don't always do it. And I love doing a piece for Halloween. I've done them. This will be my third piece that I've done that's mixed media. I keep them up in my studio year round, but I bring them out into the dining room for the Halloween season. They might still be out in the dining room. Hopefully by the time this posts, I will have alleviated them from my dining room and brought them back into the studio. And so I hadn't even thought about doing this particular one until, I don't know, that other background paper with the skulls on it in their outfits. It was kind of speaking to me. Like, they just, I don't know. I just thought it'd be cool as like a picture hanging on the background, and that was where I was going with it. So it wasn't supposed to get as creepy as it got. It just kind of got there. I can't explain it. It's a Halloween vibe, I guess. And so I did the Till Death one. I just thought she was a very pretty. Can skulls be pretty? Anyways, I thought she was pretty. Yep, we're going with that one. And then I'm just going to take that Distress Collage paste and put that around my outsides just to seal them in. I have no clue where I'm going with this. I usually don't when I start a mixed media piece. They just kind of have a mind of their own. And so when I say it spoke to me, it's just kind of, you know, what I found, what I had, it's kind of like an organic building process, because I didn't even know where I was going with this one. I just liked the labels and I liked the look of the paper, and I figured I'd go from there. And I knew I needed to get my Get Creepin' on Halloween post or project done before Thanksgiving, because we all know once Thanksgiving hits, I'm going to be super busy. I did pull out this piece of background paper from Echo Parks. I think it's the Wizard one. It was the Harry Potter themed one. I know it's not supposed to be Harry Potter themed, but it's a wizard one. Wizards and witches or something like that. And so this was the black Stardust one. They had a red one that went perfectly with the background on those ornate pictures. And that's what I wanted. I used both of those for one of my platform pop-ups. So I was like, well, I guess we're going to go with the black and we'll just make it work. So that's what I did. I didn't cut this one down as I probably should have. I kind of just slapped it on there and then took a razor and kind of cut around the edge because I was planning on going in with my sanding block again anyways, and so I just waited for it to dry. So the video process on this one was a little over an hour. It wasn't too horrible bad. And really, in all, it didn't take me, it probably took me longer dry time. So I did this, I started it on a Saturday night or Saturday late afternoon. And then while I was cleaning my studio on Sunday, I worked on it. So it definitely had lots of time to dry. It takes lots of time to dry for mixed media stuff. So if that's, we were talking in one group about keeping it real, and that's definitely keeping it real. It takes a long time to do this stuff, and I don't think you want to sit here and watch me mix paint and slap on collage medium in real time. It takes forever. So I did bring in some distress paint in. I didn't have aged mahogany. That's what I wanted. So I took candied apple, ground espresso, and then I brought in a little bit of black soot to dirty up that red to give it a little bit closer to that aged mahogany look that I wanted. And then I'm just going to dry brush over. I dry brushed mostly over the whole thing. So all of the sides got dry brushed. I just wanted to give it a little bit more character, and then bringing in that brush again over that black, and so that way it kind of masked the red that is behind those ornate frames. I tried cutting them on the Brother Scan and Cut. It didn't work. I mean, I didn't actually cut them. I scanned them in and it didn't trace it right. So I did fussy cut the frames out off camera. It took me a while. And so I went through all of my Tim Holtz hoard of things. I tend to hoard Tim Holtz, and I tend to buy a lot of it when it's on clearance. So end of the season stuff, when Hobby Lobby is clearancing stuff out, I totally make sure to pick up all of that stuff because I love all things Tim Holtz and I love all the mixed media. I just don't use it a whole lot. I need to get better at that because I really love doing mixed media pieces. So I also cut out those ghosts from, I think it's Frightful Things, from their from the Sizzix collection from Tim Holtz as well, because I thought it would be fun. So yes, I have I think these are the Halloween found relatives. Is that what they are? Paper dolls. So I have the Halloween paper dolls, and there's these married couples in there. And so I was looking for something a little smaller. I should have maybe moved my frames up a little bit more. I maybe should have planned a little bit better. This is organic. This is not how I work in, I start and I just build. And so I suffice that, well, technically they were becoming ghosts, or they were ghosts, so they really didn't need their feet anyways. I just moved them, found an area that worked, that you could still see the man and the woman in the ornate frames behind the married couple. And so that's supposed to be him and her. And then the little ghosts that are kind of interweaved with their picture or their bodies there are kind of their ghostly beings, I guess. I told you it got creepy. I can't help it. I'm bringing in some of that crypt paste. These ones were from last year. I did buy a new crypt paste from this year because it's just, yeah. I think it was on sale at Joann's when I picked it up, so I was not sad about getting the large jar of crypt paste. So I'm just using that Tim Holtz stencil and kind of selectively pasting through it. So I did Haunt and Fright, and then I'm going to bring in that Boo there and put that on there as well. So it's just a matter of trying to decide where I want all of that laid out. I decided I wanted to keep that top for a sentiment, and I'm going to put sentiment in the little quotey fingers because I don't know if it's really a sentiment for this one or if it's just kind of, the title part. And then because I love playing with paste and grit paste when I'm, so I was like, ooh, let's add some texture to the top and the sides. So I'm going to do that top one. I'm just adding some water to the top of that paste on my stencil so I don't have to run it to the bathroom right away to wash it out. Or I didn't have a pan of water. It's this way I could get my other side started here. So I'm going to do the same thing here. And I went with that ornate flourish. I can look up names if you are interested. And then I'm going to put that all back away. I'm going to run to the bathroom and wash those up. Let that dry. And then when that is dry enough, I will come back. So here's me coming back. And then I will do the other side. And then because it was dry enough on that front side, I could go back to the back side. Now, I was thinking of masking this off so I could just pull up the tape and have a flush flourish on the side, like a flush or a straight edge on my flourish. And I decided I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep it kind of organic. I just figured with my knife here, I could kind of selectively apply the putty or paste where I wanted it. I did actually mix that crypt paste with the grave paste because I wanted this a little bit more opaque. And so that was the look I was going for. And because I had a little bit of crypt paste, I just mixed it in there. So it does have a little bit of that black speckly flecklies in there along with that grave paste. And then because, I like to be extra, I was like, oh, I still have some left and I wasn't going to mix it. So I was like, well, let's just slap it on the top. I probably shouldn't have done the haunt because it wasn't a flat surface. It already had grit paste and so it didn't work out. I ended up swiping it off and trying to get a spider up there. You can't really see it in the end anyway, so it's fine. So I went through my stash and found some base, I think these are chipboard sayings or words, and I went with the follow your heart. And then I'm going to bring in some aged mahogany distress ink instead of that distress oxide. So I can put that on top of that and color that. I didn't want it sticking out a lot. I kind of wanted it to blend in with my background. So I'm trying to keep the colors to this one fairly neutral and then with that pop of deep red. And then I will add that with some Distress Collage medium and, center it to the best of my ability. And then I'm going to bring in I think it's Chit Chat. This one might be Occasions, possibly. And then I will do the inking on the sides of that to get rid of that white border. And then I will put that underneath there. So follow your heart always and forever. I'm not done yet. I had to get some creepy stuff in there too. And then I ended up going back to that one and taking out the Happy Haunting. And I'm not done yet. I'm going to use some more. So me and my husband just celebrated 21 years of marriage the middle of November. And so I actually did this piece the weekend after our anniversary. So I asked my sister-in-laws, do you think it would creep him out if I gave it to him as a late anniversary present? And they were like, nah, not at all. And I said, well, at this point in life, I get bonus points if I can creep him out. I mean, what can I say? It's all good. So follow your heart, always and forever. Happy haunting. And then I'm going to bring in one more. And instead of doing the happily ever after, I cut off the happily because I just wanted the ever after for that one. So follow your heart, always and forever. Happy haunting ever after. See, I think it's, yeah. So it's not till death. It's forever. It's all good. And so then I also brought out some of those metal, I think they're metal, I'll have to look at what they are called. I don't remember. It's like one of those foundry pieces. And so I liked that 1378. It reminded me of, oh, I don't know, maybe a date. And so maybe that's the year that these two got married. And they've been haunting ever since. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And then I added that with that distressed collage medium. And then I'm going to bring in some, I wanted to do an established on here. So I tried bringing in the Dilutions paint pens and I wanted a black one. I did not have a black one. So I tried with the red. It stuck out too much to me. It wasn't the right shade of red. So I didn't like it, and that's what my fingers are for. So I just erased it. And then I searched through my stamp sets, and look, the Casket Company one has established in it. So I think that's from Dearly Departed. And so I selectively inked that. This is in real time at the moment. I selectively inked just the word established on here in some Stays On ink because I'm hoping I can add it to that metal Foundry plate. And so here we go. So I'm going to line that sucker up and hope for the best. So just tapping gently. I don't want to push too hard because I don't want to smoosh it. I just want to tap gently. And it worked. I was so stoked. That was me being happy. Did you see the little fist bump? Yes. I still fist bump myself when, or fist pump, I guess, not bump. Fist pump when things go as planned. And then I'm sure I have the flat, like screw heads or whatever somewhere. I don't know where they're at, but I found my hexagon brads, and so, are they hex nut brads? I don't remember. They're a Tim Holtz one. I just cut off the brad part with a little bit of a post so I could add them with the collage medium into the little hole there so it finishes off that one. And then I wanted to bring in that little heart that says I love you on it. And I wasn't really sure on placement on this one. And I decided it needed a little bow to finish it off, to add a little pretty to my kind of creepy flat panel or box panel. I don't know, what would you call it? Box panel? I don't know. My mixed media piece. So I brought in some silver embroidery twine and then just tying that into a bow, cutting off the ends there. And then I decide it looks way too shiny and new for 1870 or 1378. So before I get too far here, and when I do a bow on something like that, I will do collage medium on it to kind of mucky it up or dirty it up a little bit. Gives it a little bit more of a grungy, tarnished look. And yes, my fingers were black and red for the remainder of the day. I did end up deciding to go in the corner, and so I will set this on there. And then, of course, futzing with bow because, they never work like we had planned. And then to finish it up, I thought I was all done at this point, And when I flipped it over, and the other side is really the back side, so I don't know how much you'll see it, but I like to make sure it's all finished. And so here was my final run through, and then as I was doing it, I was like, it's a little too stark, almost white. It's gray, but I was like, it's a little too clean. So I'm going to come in with my little sponge dauber here and then do some distress oxide in that aged mahogany and kind of muddy that up a little bit. And then I'll bring in a little bit of black soot paint again, just to give it a little bit more, you know, a little more character. And then of course I messed up, but it's distress. So as long as that paint is still wet, you can go in and pick it back up. So I just put a little bit of water on there and then came in with a dry towel and kind of picked up what I did not want, because it soaks into that distress grit paste really well. And so the stuff that was on top of the collage medium popped off really easy. So that is my make for November's Get Creeping on Halloween. I hope I was able to creep you out just a teeny tiny little bit. If not, well, you probably love Halloween just as much as I do. I think I'm going to enjoy doing Halloween all year long. Thank you for joining me. I hope to see you again next month. That same last day. Hopefully posted by midnight. And hopefully I stay up